All right, for this PSAT question, the key idea here is understanding that there's an easy question and there's also a hard question, and we need to have a pretty much something to do with that. We need to give in some like variables for the easy question and a hard question in this puzzle, because what they're looking for here at the end of the day is a series of equations. All right, because we have easy questions, hard questions. You're getting 30 points for the easy question, 60 points for the hard question, and they're telling us how many questions we actually answered. There were 50 puzzle questions answered for a total of 1900 points. So there seems to be a situation that's looking at all the puzzles, how many puzzles, and there's another part of this question that's dealing with the points you're getting from the puzzles. So let's kind of start this math here. So I'm going to think about easy and I'm going to think about the hard ones, right? So we're just going to call the easy questions X and the hard questions Y. And the X and Y here kind of represents how many you're doing. So how many easy questions and how many hard questions. So if you kind of look at the question here, it says there were a total of 50 puzzle questions. So we can write our very first equation really quickly as X plus Y equal to 50, right? Because there are a certain number of easy questions, certain number of hard questions, and you add that up to give you the 50 there. Now, the next thing we want to be able to do in terms of equations is look at the points. So there are 1950 points there, but we know we're getting 30 points for easy questions and 60 for hard questions. So if you think about the certain number of easy questions that you have, you're getting 30 points for each one. If you think about a certain number of hard questions you have, you're getting 60 points for each one, and that gives us a total of 1950 points in total. So as a result, we have these two equations, and this question here is as a PSAT question is actually simultaneous equations. We need to solve these two simultaneously. At the end of the day, the question is really asking for how many hard questions, hard puzzle questions were answered. Now we've defined the hard ones as the Y. So to solve this question, we need to figure out Y, which means any appearance of X needs to be neutralized. Like we need to get rid of this X here. So one thing we want to do is if you look at these two equations, in simultaneous equations, there are two methods. There's the elimination method and a substitution method. And I'm going to use the substitution method here because it just seems a little easier. You want to solve for X so that you can plug it in here so that you can neutralize that X out. So you see what I'm going to do in a second. Let me change my color here. So I'm going to solve for X here. So X here will become 50 minus Y. Okay, that's what X is. I'm going to then take that information and I'm going to plug it right there. Okay, so I'm just going to take that value of X and plug it here. As you can see, if I do that, everything here now will be in terms of Y, which is the goal of this question, to figure out what Y is. So let's go ahead and do that. So that's going to be 30. I'm going to plug in 50 minus Y in place of X. I'm substituting it, plus 60Y equal to 1950. I'm going to distribute this 30 through, so that's going to be 1500 there, minus 30Y plus 60Y equal to 1950. Now, at this point, we need to do some basic algebra here. As you can see here, the like terms that we have here, we have negative 30Y and plus 60. Well, that's going to become just 30Y because the 60 is going to subtract the 30, pretty much. You still have your 1500 here. Now, minus 30 plus 60 is plus 30Y, and this is now 1950. Again, we need to bring like terms together, so we want to get rid of this 15. We pretty much want this 1500 to come over here to the right side, so you just say minus 1500 on both sides. That goes away there, and I have 30Y. And in this case, 1950 minus 1500 gives you 450. At this point, you want to solve for Y. You need to get rid of this 30, so you divide 30 on both sides. If you want to use your calculator, you could just do this manually. If you cross those two out, 3 goes in 45, 3 goes in 4, 1 time, remainder 1, 3 goes in 15, 5 times. So Y is 15. As you can see, the answer here is B. So the idea here is recognizing very early on that we need to substitute a variable for the word easy and for the word hard, which is what we did here, write your two simultaneous equations, and using the substitution method, substitute x in here into the second equation, rewrite x at the top one, and substitute it into the second equation, and then solve for y as a result. So the answer here is B.